Hi guys, welcome to week 7, the muscular system. So here we're going to be dealing with types of muscles, all right? I hope that all of you guys are doing well. Great. So what are our objectives for this week? Well, our objectives for this week are identify the types of muscles and their function, discuss the skeletal muscles, state the relationship between the bones and muscles of your forelimb, and also the type of joints. Describe the categories of joints and list examples of immovable, slightly movable, and freely movable joints. Label the parts of a synovial joint. State the function of a synovial membrane and synovial fluid. Discuss importance of cartilage. List examples of connective tissues found in synovial joints. State the role of connective tissues. And lastly, discuss the main types of synovial joints, their function, and their degree of movement. So, what are muscles? Well, muscles is a contractile tissue which brings about movement. Muscles can be regarded as motors of the body. So, what are the purpose of muscles? Well, the purpose of the muscular system is 1. Maintains posture, supports the body in an upright position. 2. Movement. Muscles attach to bones to pull them, moving substances within body, for example, food through intestines or blood in veins. 3. Balance. It stabilizes body position. It is important. 4. Body temperature. Produces heat through muscles contraction. Let's keep in mind that there are around 700 named muscles on a human being, all right? So that's a great amount of muscles that we have, all right? So, what are the types of muscles? There are 3 types of muscles: cardiac muscles, smooth muscles, and skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are also known as striated muscles, all right? So, what is the cardiac muscle? Well, cardiac muscles are found only in the heart, all right? Smooth muscles, where do we find these smooth muscles? Well, we will find the smooth muscles in our organs. Lastly, where would we find the skeletal muscles? We would find these skeletal muscles attached to the bones and brings about movement. All right, to reinforce on the skeletal muscle, every muscle has a nerve going to it, all right? I think by now you guys should be aware of that. This requires ATP energy, which you know as adenosine triphosphate, all right? And a good blood supply. Skeletal muscles can only pull, not push. All right, guys, it's important for you guys to remember this because then maybe it can come and haunt you in a quiz, right? And some students always say that skeletal muscles push, but no, skeletal muscles only pull. Keep that in mind. Movement of the forelimb, all right? So, movement of the arm. A pair of antagonist muscles move the arm. And this pair is known as the bicep and tricep, all right? Bicep bends the arm when it contracts. This is where the tricep muscles will relax. And for tricep, the tricep straightens the arm when it contracts. Then the biceps relax, all right? Please keep in mind how to differentiate between the biceps and the triceps, all right? And right here you see an example of the triceps. How when the triceps straighten when in the arm, then this happens the contraction, right? And then the biceps will relax, and then it's different vice versa with the biceps. When the biceps bend the arm, then it contracts. Triceps relax, all right? All right, just to recap on what we have discussed on muscles. Remember the muscular system, its purpose or function to create movement and strength of the body and to create movement of body organs. Main organs are skeletal, voluntary muscles. Move bones and hold your skeleton upright. Smooth muscles contract slowly and move substances through the internal organs they surround. And 3, cardiac muscles. They make up the walls of the heart, and their function is to pump blood. Okay, so we have been discovering information about the muscles, right? But indeed, what is the relationship of bones and muscles? Well, muscles keep the bones in place and also play a role in the movement of bones. To allow motion, and different bones are connected by joints. Cartilage prevents the bone ends from rubbing directly onto each other. Muscles contract to move the bone attached at the joint. Alright, so here say muscles keep bones in place. Alright, so remember that the relationship of bones and muscle is that muscles keep bones in place and also plays a role in the movement of the bones. So now we are getting into joints. So the type of joints, all right? So what are joints? Well, a joint is the location at which 2 or more bones articulate or make contact. Some joints, like those of the skull, are fixed and have no movement. Some, like those of the vertebrae, can move slightly, and some are freely movable, like the joints of the limbs. So, what are the types of joints? As we stated in our objectives, we have the movable, also known as fixed joints, slightly movable joints, and freely movable joints. Immovable or fixed joints are also known as fibrous joints, which are held together by tough tissues which develops during childhood. Example, the cranium, pelvis, and some vertebrae. Slightly movable joints, also known as cartilaginous joints. These are limited in movement. For example, the vertebral column. Individual vertebrae are separated by cartilage. And lastly, freely movable joints, also known as freely movable or synovial joints, which is a wide range of movement is allowed, and there are 6 types of freely movable or synovial joints. And right here at the right bottom, you can see an image where it's indicating you based on the color. The circle has a color. Fibrous joints at the cranium, and then the slightly movable joints, red, and the freely movable joints, blue. So, synovial joints. Structure of freely movable or synovial joints. The synovial membrane secretes synovial fluid, which lubricates the joints and prevents friction. You may be saying, what is synovial fluid? We're going to know what synovial fluid is in a few. Cartilage prevents wear and tear of the bones, okay? So right here you have an image where it's showing you the ligament, which is tough, the capsule, which is composed of rough, slightly elastic ligaments, the cartilage, you have the synovial membrane, which produces the synovial fluid. So that's where it comes synovial fluid, which is the lubricates the joint. Then you have the tendon, and then you have the muscles, all right? Remember that muscles cause movement, all right? So here it does the same function, causes movement. Connective tissues. The connective tissues at joints. There are 3 types of connective tissues used within the joints. First one is cartilage, second one is ligaments, and third one is tendons, all right? So what are cartilage? Cartilage form a cushion between the bones in order to stop them from rubbing. Ligaments are like very strong string that attach bones to bones, okay? So these are the ones, the ligaments are the ones that attach bone to bone, and they are stretched, all right? They are stretchable. Tendons are the ones that attach muscles to bone, or also to other muscles. These do not stretch. So ball and socket joints. The ball and socket joints allow the greatest range of movement. One end of the bone is shaped like a ball, and it fits into a hollow socket at the end of another joint. So you can clearly see it from the images here above. What's it trying to say? And then also it held together by ligament and tendons. All right. Two main ball socket joints, the shoulder and hip joints. Okay. Hinge joints. Hinge joints allow extensive flexion and extension, meaning bending and straightening, with only a small amount of rotation. This this occurs because of the strong ligaments that stop the bones from sliding off from one side to the other. Examples of the hinge joints would be the elbow and knee joints. Pivot joints. Pivot joints allow only rotation around an axis. For example, central point. The joint works by the end of one bone having a peg which fits into a ring formed by the other bone. Example, between the axis and atlas bones of the neck. This allows us to turn, raise, and lower our heads. Gliding joints. Gliding joints allow flexion and extension through a slight gliding motion between the ends of small bones. Example, such as small bones at the base of the hands and feet. These small bones can move over one another to increase the flexibility of the hands and feet. Strong ligaments link them together and stop them moving too far. Okay, so now is where we come about with the synovial membrane and the fluid. The synovial membrane makes synovial fluid, which has a lubricating function. So remember, guys, don't confuse this, all right? Synovial membrane is the one that makes the synovial fluid, all right? And the synovial fluid is it has a role of lubrication. So, in other words, what is actually synovial fluid? Well, it is also called synovia. It's a viscous, non-Newtonian fluid found in the cavities of synovial joints. With its egg white-like consistency, the principal role of synovial fluid is to reduce friction between the articular cartilage of synovial joints during movement. So, furthermore, just another little brief information on it. Synovial membrane is found inside the joint capsule and creates synovial fluid. While the synovial fluid nourishes joint, removes weight debris, and lines into joint cavity. Okay? So synovial fluid is a viscous fluid found in the cavities of movable joints. Okay? While the synovial membrane is an inner membrane of synovial joints, which secretes the synovial fluid into the joint cavity and contains specialized cells as synoviocytes. All right, guys, so we have reached the end of week 7. I hope you guys keep safe.